Tonight on KGW News, crews work to slow the growth of a wildfire as gusty winds fan the flames through the fields of Wasco County. Plus,
it's unprecedented. We've never seen a single debate have this big an impact.
The veteran Oregon Congressman now saying it's time for President Biden to step aside. Then teammates and fans gather to remember the former Oregon Duck taken too soon in a tragic car crash. And later, some good news for the climber who fell hundreds of feet on Mount Hood.
And we're just looking forward to him just getting back there and beating Mount Hood.
Why his friends are now calling his recovery a miracle. Good evening. We begin at 11 with growing pressure from fellow Democrats for President Biden to step aside in his race to remain in the White House. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. It is a list that now includes longtime Oregon Congressman Earl Blumenauer. Catherine Cook is in the newsroom with the details. Catherine?
David, Congressman Blumenauer said no president has more accomplishments under more difficult circumstances than President Joe Biden. He then went on to say it's time for Biden to step aside as a matter of protecting democracy.
The $15 for an insulin shot.
It's been 2 weeks since the presidential debate, and moments like this that caught many Americans off guard. Since then, growing concerns over President Biden's fitness to be the nation's Democratic nominee. On Wednesday, Oregon Congressman Earl Blumenauer called for the president to drop out of the race in the interest of protecting democracy. It is a painful and difficult conclusion, said Blumenauer in a statement, but there is no question in my mind that we will all be better served if the president steps aside as the Democratic nominee and manages a transition under his terms. He has earned that right.
It's unprecedented. We've never seen a single debate have this big an impact.
Professor Jim Moore teaches politics at Pacific University. He says while the debate left many people with questions, the next few days will be a critical opportunity for Biden to provide answers.
Biden has to fix this himself. He's been sending surrogates around. So we've seen Gavin Newsom from California, for instance, going all over the place, and Kamala Harris going all over the place saying Biden's the best candidate. He's great. He's ready to go. But only Biden can fix this because it was his physical look, his physical appearance in the debate that's the problem.
The Democrats have until early August to lock down their presidential ticket. Moore says in order for another candidate to secure a nomination, Biden would need to step down first.
It's all up to President Biden right now.
And so far, the president has expressed every intention to run. Blumenauer is the first and only Democratic member of Oregon's delegation to suggest Biden step aside. KGW reached out to the others. In a statement, Congresswoman Suzanne Bonamici suggested she's still making up her mind, saying, "Defeating Donald Trump remains my top priority. I'm currently speaking with constituents and colleagues to identify the best path forward so we can stop the dangerous Project 2025 agenda and keep building on the many successes of the Biden administration." Senator Ron Wyden offered this statement. President Biden said he had a bad night, but I'm proud of the results the Democrats and I have delivered with him the last 4 years here in Oregon and nationwide. Voters in our state and America fired Donald Trump with cause in 2020, and they're not going to rehire him in 2024. Senator Jeff Merkley said there were serious concerns about Biden, but did not otherwise come down on the issue. And on Monday, Washington Senator Patty Murray released a statement saying Biden must do more to demonstrate that he can mount a strong enough campaign to defeat Trump in November. For now, there's summer.
Usually summers are really sleepy and the conventions are even sleepier because they're all pre-programmed.
This time, for so many, it's all up in the air. Tomorrow, President Biden is scheduled to hold a news conference with the White House press corps, something he's done less often than his predecessors. That's scheduled to begin at 2:30 our time, with a lot of people anxious to see how he fares. David?
Yeah, it does not sound like it's going to be a sleepy summer this time around. Thank you, Catherine. We have some new information on a shooting that locked down a southeast Portland neighborhood for much of the evening. Police now say the suspect fired at officers and a bystander while trying to escape. This started when police tried to pull over a man for a traffic violation. They say he drove off, but officers say they later saw him standing outside the car near Southeast Taylor and Main. They say when they tried to contact him, he turned and ran while firing shots at officers. Police did not fire back, they say, and no officers were actually hit. The suspects, also accused of shooting at a woman who was driving by, she was not hurt either. The man then ran into Berrydale Park. That's where police say he shot himself. He later died in the hospital.
Certainly it's enormously concerning when we have somebody firing shots in the neighborhood, and we're grateful that no one was hurt besides the suspect.
Detectives are asking anyone who might have surveillance video of any part of this incident to please reach out. To the latest now on the wildfire burning in Wasco County, about 20 miles south of the Dalles. We got an update late tonight. The fire is now spread to 9,100 acres. It's up from 7,100 this evening. It's burning in a rural area southwest of Dufur with a lot of fields and grass as fuel. Firefighters say the fire spread substantially to the east today, and they now have more than 370 people working to fight it. Crews have been digging trenches on the ground to try and stop it. Others have been dumping water on the flames from the air. And keep in mind, the fire danger in this area is considered extreme, primarily because of the wind.
With this rapid wind, it can be 2 miles away, and a few minutes later, it could be right at their feet.
That's the reality. Evacuation areas also expand today with level 3 go now orders for new areas east of Highway 197. The highway itself has also been closed on and off, but it is currently open. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Safina. Now, Matt, both wind and heat making for challenging conditions in that firefight. So how is the forecast looking?
A little bit better, a little less windy, but there's still wind to be to contend with over the next couple of days. And this is exactly why we issue fire weather warnings. It's not because fires are going to start in that area, but if they do, they can spread rapidly, dangerously, and unpredictably because of the wind. Hey, the Dalles, 81 degrees right now. The wind is down. It's still 13 miles an hour, which is not a friend of firefighters, but at least it's not blowing 38 miles an hour like it was in the Dalles earlier during the day today. Winds closer in on the fire, and in fact, this red area, that is the fire, at least part of it, as viewed from space. That's the Large Creek fire there. So we've got some wind observations closer than the Dalles. Friend, southwest at 12. Friend, that's a town name, Friend. Down at Maupin, they're light. Dufur, the wind is calm, which is great. So again, the wind, and on US 197 in a place called Ty Ridge, right along the highway there, winds are only 3 miles an hour. So the winds have really backed off down here, which is great. It gives firefighters a chance to really make progress when the winds are down, but they won't stay that way. Look, overnight they stay light, under 10 miles an hour, bottom out, and they're calm at around 7 a.m., right? But then look, they ramp up when the sun comes up, 9 miles an hour, 13, then 17 miles an hour by 10 a.m. Now, this is for the Dalles, a little windier there than it will be down on the fire itself, but you get the idea. The winds will come up. So the fire weather warning continues from east of Mount Hood over that fire area through tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets extended yet again. Breezy in the afternoons and evenings, but not as windy as it's been. The winds died down overnight, as I just showed you. Humidity stays low, temperatures stay high. David?
Yeah, sounds like it could be another tough day. Thank you, Matt. New tonight, an outpouring of support at Autzen Stadium for a former Oregon Duck and Minnesota Vikings rookie who was killed along with 2 other people over the weekend in a car crash in Maryland. Alma McCarty was at the vigil for Kyrie Jackson in Eugene tonight. Alma?
Yeah, David, Kyrie Jackson was just 24 years old, and although he only played for the Oregon Ducks for a single season, he will be dearly missed here in Eugene.
Wednesday night, outside Autzen Stadium and in, a legacy honored. Kyrie Jackson remembered.
His interviews were always excellent, and he's always smiling, and he always said how much he loved Oregon.
Early Saturday morning, Jackson and 2 of his high school friends and teammates died after their car was struck by a driver attempting to change lanes at a high speed. Maryland police say their car left the road and hit multiple tree stumps.
It was just, it was a horrifying thing.
It hit hard, so when I heard the news, definitely had to come here, show respect.
Described as competitive, passionate, authentic, remembered fondly by those who knew him best, from his coaches to his team.
Kyrie had a goal. He had a goal to play to make it to the NFL. Kyrie made that goal.
Kyrie was one of those guys that you wanted to be around every day. no matter what it was. If you're around Kyrie, you're going to have a good day.
Watching Kyrie make you want to just play better. And, him not being here no more it don't sit right.
I think Arias, everything he touched or everything he came into contact with, it wasn't the same once he left.
Me being here at Oregon has helped, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
I swear, he gets me, he hypes me up just looking at him in that video.
Kyrie's parents with words of gratitude for the Ducks.
I want to thank the community of Eugene and the surrounding areas for embracing our son and giving him a place where he could be himself and just ball out. You guys just gave Kyrie a real chance here. You guys will always be family to us.
And David, based on the stories and the love shared inside of the stadium here tonight, you could just tell that Kyrie will always be considered family here too. Now, as for the crash, prosecutors in Prince George's County, Maryland, they are still waiting on some more evidence to determine if someone will be criminally charged in this case. Back to you.
Yeah, some powerful scenes from Autzen Stadium there. Thank you, Alma. Appreciate your reporting tonight. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, officials in the Portland area are asking for help finding a missing 15-year-old. Oregon's Department of Human Services says Nevaeh Rohrbach, who also goes by Rihanna, went missing from foster care back on June 21st. They say she's likely in danger and somewhere in southeast Portland. If you see her, call 911. Well, the triple-digit heat wave is now suspected to be behind at least 9 deaths throughout Oregon. 5 of those were Multnomah County residents, including a 72-year-old North Portland man who died yesterday. Another person from Clackamas County died, and Washington County is also reporting its first suspected heat-related death, an 83-year-old man. There have also been 2 heat-related deaths reported in southern Oregon, one in Coos County and one in Jackson County, where temperatures hit 110 degrees during the heat wave. In all of these cases, a medical examiner will determine a final cause of death. And the former football coach from Westview High in the Beaverton district who was accused of slapping players has been criminally charged. Jamal Jones faces 12 counts of misdemeanor harassment while at a football camp at Linfield University. The students allege Jones woke them up in the middle of the night by slapping and shaking them. Jones resigned from Westview within days. He's also currently on leave from his job as a Hillsborough police officer. In an update tonight, we have learned the climber who fell on Mount Hood over the weekend is now in fair condition. He fell 700 feet while on a popular climbing route. We showed you the daring rescue yesterday as an Oregon National Guard helicopter did what is called a hot landing, touching down on the mountain with just enough time to load that climber on board and take him to a Portland hospital. The climber, 55-year-old Chris Zworzynski, is from the Phoenix area. Our sister station in Arizona talked to his pastor today, who attributes Chris's recovery to his faith.
And this to me is a miracle. This is not something that you just survive a 700-foot fall and come out with fractures that are minor in comparison to what it could have been.
Well, the pastor says Zworzynski has started to speak again. They're looking forward to the day he can get back to doing what he loves. He is an avid climber who is working on a goal to summit every major peak in the U.S. by the end of the year. Straight ahead on KGW News at 11, another weekend, another interstate shutdown. Why transit riders might also be feeling the ripple effects. And why some business owners in Northeast Portland say they believe they were specifically targeted by a suspected arsonist.